welcome back, WrestleRanters, to the 95th edition of WrestleRant here today with, of course, your host with the most, Bleacher Report, Feature Comics Level 3, Graham GSM Matthews. Here in this video, I'll be discussing Monday Night Raw, December 3rd, 2012, as well as the injury update on WWE Champion CM Punk after what occurred today after going in for surgery on his left knee, as reported by WWE.com. So I will be giving an update on that, giving my thoughts on that later in this video. But as far as last night's Monday Night Raw goes, it was a good show in my opinion. Let's start running down the card. To kick off the show, we had the WWE Tag Team Champions, Team Hell No, otherwise known as Kane and Daniel Bryan, taking on the team of the Primetime Players with all new, terrible music, might I add, for entrance music that is. Really enjoyed, ooh, get it in and get it. That's right. Really love that music, so I'm a bit disappointed they changed it. But that aside, this was a good match to kick off the show. Of course, the focus of the match was on the Shield and the audience. They showed Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns at various points during the course of this matchup, making their rounds around the ring. I'm sorry, that was a tongue twister there. But that aside, this was a good matchup. Team Hell No goes over here. Following the matchup, the Shield makes their presence felt by attacking the WWE Tag Team Champions. Will this be leading to a six-man tag team match of sorts or some sort of multi-man tag team match at TLC? Only time will tell, but I am liking what they are doing with the division, with the tag team division at the moment. I've stated that numerous times. But it is always an awesome change of pace to have a match kick off the show rather than a boring promo. Up next, AJ Lee versus Tamina Snuka. They teased this match at TLC a few weeks ago, so I was a bit surprised they gave it away this early. The match itself was fine. AJ goes over here. I understand they want to book Tamina as like the new Beth Phoenix of the division, and what I mean by that is by having her make her look like a dominant diva, only to have her job out in the end. So I don't know what the whole point of this matchup was, especially since we're not getting a mixed tag team match at TLC. So I'm glad to see that we are actually getting a singles match between Cena and Ziggler. I'll get to that in a little bit. But as for this match, it was fine. AJ goes over. Really nothing more to say than that. Up next, Miz and Punk engage in a very strong promo. Really enjoyed this. Sure, Miz's corny lines may have dragged it down for some people, but he is still one of the best mic workers in the company. He's still growing into his face persona, so I won't give him a whole lot of crap here. I did enjoy some of his verbal exchange with Punk. Punk was very good here. It was obviously to set up the Miz TV segment later in the night, so it wasn't affected in that aspect. But the Walrus stuff and the shots of Paul Heyman from the Miz, I know it may seem like a little PG for some people. It did for me at certain points during the course of his promo. But even still, he's over with the crowd as a face. Punk even furthered that by saying, come on, just cheer Miz, just cheer him and hate me. Punk said that numerous times during the course of this promo and later on. So it's helping getting Miz over as a face. He's a great talent. He looks like he has great potential as a face, so hopefully it continues to flourish from here. Up next, we had a very solid tag team match with John Cena and Sheamus defeating the tandem of Dolph Ziggler and The Big Show. This is a very, very good tag team match right here. Obviously, with Cena and Sheamus going over, I wasn't all that thrilled. Would have preferred the heels to go over here, but with the heels probably going over at TLC, I didn't really have any problem with the finish itself. But even still, this was a solid tag team match, as I just said. The closing moments of this matchup were very well done, with Cena and Sheamus hitting their finishers simultaneously, and the crowd popped for the finish. So you can't ask more than that. Up next, we had Damian Sandow versus Santino Marella. But before I get to that, Damian Sandow was looking for his apprentice yet again, as we saw on SmackDown last week. Another entertaining segment from Damian Sandow, the intellectual savior of the masses. He is one great talent. As I've said since his debut, this guy is going to be a future world champion at some point. This guy has all the talent in the world, but the crowd did not care about this match at all with Santino Marella. Santino Marella is not over as he once was, so they didn't get too shits about him here. I know they booed at some points during the matchup when he was going for a signature spot, Sandow that is. But besides that, they didn't really care about this matchup. But nonetheless, it was a nice win for Santino Marella, to say the least. So up next, we had Alberto Del Rio versus Sin Cara. Yet another very good matchup from these two. We saw these two battle this past week on Friday Night SmackDown. Now yet another rematch on this week's Raw. These guys have great chemistry together. Sin Cara has improved immensely in the ring since his WWE debut a year and a half ago. He's really coming on to his own as a singles competitor. Maybe being paired with Rey Mysterio has really rubbed off on him. And speaking of Rey Mysterio, I was a bit confused as to why he wasn't at ringside. He was on last week's Raw, but he wasn't on SmackDown, to be in the corner of Sin Cara, but he wasn't on this week's Raw either in any form or fashion. So I was a bit shocked by that. But that aside, this match was very fun. The crowd liked both men, or as far as Sin Cara goes, I mean, they popped for his moves. Del Rio hit a couple of good maneuvers here as well. Del Rio goes over inevitably, but even still, the predictable finish and the predictable win for Del Rio doesn't really. It's not as boring as it once was because it came after a good match with Sin Cara, so I was really happy to see that. Up next, we had Vince McMahon return to Raw in a segment with Vicky Guerrero when he announced for TLC it will be John Cena versus Dolph Ziggler in a ladder match with the SmackDown Money in the Bank briefcase hanging high above the ring. So as for the segment itself, this really didn't do anything for me. I love Mr. McMahon. Obviously, he gets great pops and he always has great appearances every time he appears on Raw. But this felt a bit underwhelming to me, in my personal opinion. It just felt strange. It kind of felt like his altercation with Vicky Guerrero with Brad Maddox from a couple weeks ago from Raw in England. Remember that, when he was kind of making the choices for her? That's kind of what we saw here, so I didn't really enjoy this segment. But even still, I like the fact that we're getting Cena versus Ziggler in a singles match at TLC. They had an excellent match last week on Raw, and just a standard singles match. I'm hoping that their ladder match is just as good, if not better, come TLC. But with the SmackDown Money in the Bank briefcase in the line, I really thought that Dolph Ziggler would be retaining here. But after reading a few things, maybe Cena could win and then cash in for the WWE title. That would be completely illogical, but I could see WWE Creative going that route. I really hope not, but the match itself come TLC should be amazing. So I'm looking forward to that match in just a few short weeks. Up next, we had Randy Orton versus the returning Brad Maddox. Now, my thoughts on Brad Maddox. I was shitting on him the last time he appeared on TV during the course of his promo. I hated it. But now that he's back and he's got the cameraman, he's got the new attire and whatnot. I know he wore that last time, but even still, he's coming out of his own as a character. So I do like that aspect. At least he's developing. He's not as bad on the gimmick, or he's not as bad on the mic as he once was, as he was a month ago, as from the last time I saw him personally. I hated the guy the last time we saw him, but now he's okay. I'm not like jumping onto the bandwagon or anything, but even still, he had a nice showing against Randy Orton. Randy Orton obviously went over here in a brief squash match. I don't know what they're doing with Maddox. Maybe they're going to continue to have him squash in upcoming weeks, to have him fight for his WWE contract. I thought he was going to be coming back in January, but I guess not. Even still, I'm looking forward to what they do with him going forward. So following this matchup, they had the Shield attack Randy Orton, another vicious assault from the three NXT standouts, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. They had an impressive showing against the Viper, so that was pretty cool as well. Will it lead to a multi-man tag team match at TLC, as I just said earlier in this video, maybe involving Randy Orton? That would be pretty cool, and since Randy Orton isn't really involved in a storyline right now, so I don't really see him getting involved in the pay-per-view unless he's involved with the Shield. Well, only time will tell as far as that goes. But yeah, I really like this match, as well as the post-match assaults. So up next, a United States Championship matchup, Fatal 4-Way, involving Antonio Cesaro, Kofi Kingston, Wade Barrett, and R-Truth. Now, this match was originally scheduled to be a tag team match before Teddy Long came out. Ironically enough, the guy known for making tag team matches prevents one from happening, and announced that it was going to be a Raw active poll with the Raw audience voting whether it was going to be for the Intercontinental or United States Championship. Almost 72% of the votes, I believe, were for the United States Championship, and Antonio Cesaro ended up retaining after a very, very good matchup. I really enjoyed this one. All four guys had their brief moments to shine. Cesaro had a very nice finish. When the finish came, when R-Truth was going for Wade Barrett hit his finisher on Truth. Kingston hit his finisher on Barrett. Went for the pinfall, got the 1-2. Cesaro picks up Kofi Kingston in mid-pinfall, hits a neutralizer for the victory. So that was very cool. I've been loving Antonio Cesaro for months now. He's made a great United States champion. He's really coming out of his own as a character as well. So hopefully he continues to flourish and defend his United States championship, because I see great things in the future of United States champion Antonio Cesaro going forward. So to close the night, we had Miz TV involving WWE Champion CM Punk taking a lie detector test. Now, this was much more entertaining than what we saw earlier in the night, because The Miz wasn't making any PG verbal shots at Punk or Heyman. Maybe a few here and there, but overall, I really did enjoy it. Punk was battling back with with his shots of his own at Miz, so I thought that was pretty funny as well. I love both guys. This is hilarious. Very strong verbal exchange. Love the historical reference that they made to Rey Mysterio shaving Punk's head back at Over the Limit 2010, and Randy Orton versus Punk at WrestleMania 27. Love that kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for history, so I'm glad they acknowledged that kind of stuff. Then during the course of the segment, Miz was asking Punk all these questions, and it came to the obvious question: Punk, are you working with the Shield? Were you working with Brad Maddox at Hell in a Cell? Before he could answer, the Shield interrupts, starts to attack The Miz. They ambush him at ringside, just toss him to the side. Ryback comes down, demolishes all guys. Team Hell No comes down, takes out the Shield, so does Ryback. Punk poses in the ring before he turns around and takes the shell shock at the hands of Ryback. So that was pretty cool. Ryback finally gets momentum. He's been made to look weak at Survivor Series and the 2 subsequent editions of Raw, so I have no problem with him ending the show on a high note. So that's pretty cool as well. I'm looking for the TLC match at TLC if it indeed happens, and I'll get to that in 1 minute. But as far as the ending of the show goes, I liked it. Another controversial finish leaves us guessing whether Punk is really aligned with the Shield or not. So I'm looking forward to that storyline and eventually paying off that Punk is with the group or Heyman's aligned with them. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm looking forward to where this goes from here. So overall, I thought this was a good edition of Raw. Some solid action, not as much as last week. But even still, I can't complain. 3 hours of the show kind of went by rather quickly. Not quickly, but it went by okay. It didn't drag as usually. Not as it usually does. Last week it didn't drag, but the few editions of Raw before that kind of did. This week it didn't drag as much, so I enjoyed it. I like the direction they're taking going into TLC and for the rest of the year. So hopefully they end 2012 on a high note with all these awesome storylines they got going on at the moment. TLC has always been a great pay-per-view with only 4 matches on the card thus far. Hopefully they continue to add matches going forward with less than 2 weeks until the event. It has the potential to be a great show if it is indeed, if all goes well. So with that being said, now on to my injury update of WWE Champion CM Punk. Now, it was reported today on WWE.com that CM Punk underwent knee surgery, emergency knee surgery, ironically enough, on the 380th day of his WWE Championship reign. As of today, he ties John Cena's WWE Championship reign from 2007. Now, Cena is, as of now, the longest reigning WWE Champion since Hogan in the 80s, in the last 15 years. So if Punk can last one more day as WWE Champion, he will surpass Cena's reign. I don't think Punk's injury is a work, for one thing. A lot of people have been asking me that. No, this is not a work. I'm pretty sure this is legitimate. I don't think WWE would pull an injury angle at this point. Granted, they did blame the injury in storyline on the website on the Ryback attack from on Raw. That's understandable. They're not going to say it was legitimate or anything. But, I mean, it is a legitimate storyline, but you know what I mean. They're not going to blame it on something that has been injured in the last couple of weeks. Because from what I've been reading, he's had a nagging knee injury for weeks now. So this isn't something that's a complete surprise. Now, with that being said, I recently also read that the surgery went well. It was a torn meniscus or a cartilage tear, I believe, in his left knee. So that makes sense. And John Cena, I believe, and storyline, he had the same thing. But that's pretty funny as well. But with that being said, it doesn't sound like it's something all that major. It said that since the surgery went so well, that the recovery is pretty speedy. So hopefully, I don't know if he's going to be wrestling at TLC. That's in less than 2 weeks, so I wouldn't assume so. But if he is, I mean, it's a TLC match. That's his thing. He can't wrestle in a TLC match with this kind of injury. So hopefully CM Punk is okay. He doesn't have to forfeit the championship. I would hate to see him drop the championship after 380 days with it. He might as well just keep on going, especially with Rock versus Punk at the Royal Rumble in just a few short weeks or in just a few short months. Actually, in just like a month and a half, actually. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully all goes well for Punk. #GetWellPunk. And let's hope all goes well for CM Punk going forward. So with all that being said, guys, I really appreciate you guys checking out the video. Make sure to hit me up on Twitter at @CM_GSM for your thoughts on Raw, your thoughts on this video. Make sure to subscribe as well. Really do appreciate it. And with this being the 95th edition of WrestleRant, I will be posting a video either later this week or early next week as regards to what my videos entail going to 2013. I hope to publish the 100th episode of WrestleRant by the end of this year, so be on the lookout for that. But as far as what entails or what will mean the future of my videos going into 2013, a video will be describing that will be coming either later this week or early next week. So thanks again, guys, for watching. Really do appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your week. And this is GSM signing out. Till next time, guys.